Well, your preparation for playing that part of George included getting inside information on firefighting techniques from somebody who was an expert fighter in more ways than one.
And later, Glenn, you were to return the favour.
A former fireman and undefeated world light welterweight boxing champion, Terry Marsh. Hello, Terry. You showed Glen the ropes then, did you?
No, and the thing was, I became a fireman, and Glen and I used to play in the same football team, and consequently he told me that there was this series coming on, London's Burning, and he had a couple of episodes in it, and asked if I'd give him some advice on the firefighting. So he come down to the station, and we showed him the ropes, basically. Yeah.
And you said he returned the favour?
Yeah, well, I wish you wouldn't say that, but no, the thing is, I found myself once in a very precarious situation.
No.
Which,
Surely not.
But seriously, folks, no, it could have reflected badly on Glen in view of our friendship. But despite that, and ignoring advice from numerous people, which included myself, he refused to distance himself from me. And I think the actions there, where he wasn't backward in coming forward and actually nailing the colours to the mast, well, as I say, the actions speak volumes and say so much more than words ever can. And I just consider that it's a privilege to know him and an absolute honour to have him as a friend.
Thank you, Terry Martin. Well, now, boxing is a tradition in your family. Your dad was a leading professional in the 1950s, and two of your uncles, Joe Lucy and Eddie Wright, were champions. You were an outstanding amateur with the famous East London club Repton. To raise funds for the club, you helped write and produce this 1980s song featuring the boys of Repton, Jab and Moves.
We're all chaps, though we can't sing. We make music in the ring. Be the greatest is our aim. Knocking them out is our game. Stracy boy and Mighty Mo. Hold your heroes, here we go.
Who was that guy?
Well, luckily, you only wrote the lyrics, and you referred there to one of Repton's great boxing heroes.
Glenn, do you think I can have my boxing kit back now?
Former world welterweight champion John H. Stracey.
Thanks, Steve. All right, Sam.
Really lovely to see you.
What happened to the training gear then?
Well, in them days, we used to... yeah. Well, what we used to do in them days, we used to train at the Royal Oak in Canning Town, which was his uncle's pub, Johnny. Yeah. And he used to train a lot with me, and he used to spar. But he was one of these, he always wanted to collect kit. And you remember, he used to have me vest. Yeah. He'd ask for me shorts, then he'd have me socks. But I opened my kit one day, and there was my jockstrap left in it. Oh, remember that? You never had that, did you? Well, I like to say...
ran away with me.
Yeah, he wouldn't keep that. But anyway, what I was going to say is that won't fit me no more. I'm too big for it, so you might as well keep it, mate.
Snap.
All right. Anyway, lovely to see you.
Probably.
Good luck.
Thank you, John H. Stracey. Tony Burns, you were John and Glen's coach at Repton, weren't you?
That's correct. I thought Glen could have made it and gone all the way in boxing, but in the national championships that year, he lost a split decision to Dennis Andres, and just after that, Dennis Andres went on to win 3 world titles, and some couple of guys come in the gym looking for some extras for a play they was doing, and I called Murph over and said, Glen, you're the biggest actor down here.
Could have been a contender.
Well, Glen, Anthony Murphy, this is your life. It began in Plaistow, West Ham, on April the 6th, 1957, weighing in at 7 pounds, a birth that made headlines because of your dad's boxing fame. You're the second of 5 Murphy children, that's left to right, Terry Jr., yourself, Lloyd, and the twins Darren and Vanessa. Now, your mum and dad own a greengrocer's shop before your dad starts running a string of East End pubs, including the Bridge House. You go to St Helens Primary School, where, Rita, he was a bit of a handful.
Yes,
I went to collect the children one day and he was tied to the chair. And that was the only way Sister Benedict could keep him in one spot.
That's how I developed my stillness of acting, see? I was tied in the chair.
Well, your next stop is St Bonaventure's School in Forest Gate, where you excel at sport, particularly boxing and football. Here you are in the first-year team, and here with the local school title-winning team of 1972-73. Now, St Margaret's Church in Canning Town has a big influence on your early life. Here you are, the day of your first Holy Communion. Now, Father Hall, you remember him well.
I do, because he was very good in the under-14 six-a-side we had with the other parishes, and Glen scored quite a number of goals for that team. In fact, a Jeff Hurst in the making. But in fact, he supported Chelsea secretly, and this was...
You mustn't say that.
This was kept fairly quiet.
It's not true, lads.
Because we're West Ham supporters in our area, of course, and we wanted to go to West Ham, of course, eventually.
Well, the shame of it, but you went back to your first love of West Ham, and here with us tonight are some of your favourites, including former England fullback Frank Lampard. You recently played in a testimonial match with them.
Good header comes in, it's there. Well, lovely goal. It's number 12, Glen Murphy, lovely goal there.
Well, that was a nice goal, but of course boxing has always been your first love. And Terry, you were less than happy about that.
Well, yes, we didn't want him to box, really. We wanted him to carry on with the football and, you know, hopefully get a nice living at it. But he comes home one day from Charlton and declares that he wants to be a fighter. So I said, well, come on, we've got the gloves upstairs, let's get them on and let's see what you're made of. So we move around for a few minutes. Anyway, I let one go. I'm determined to hit him to let him know that it's an hard game. Anyway, I hit him really hard on the chin and he went, but, you know, thank God he come back.
I didn't go.
Let me finish. Thank God he come back, and then I knew he had the heart and the courage to be a fighter. In fact, he come back so good, he hit me on the chin in return, and nearly had me over. So...
You never told me that.
You know, well, I never let you know.
That would have been good.
But then he went on and he become, you know, international, and he was a good fighter. He's a certainty to win the ABAs this particular year. And then a little tap on the office door the next one day. Dad, I'm turning boxing in, I want to be an actor. You know, what can you do? He's won, you know...
I made the wrong decision, I suppose.
Well, you weren't worried about that, were you, though, Terry?
Well, I threw a left hook at him, and he ducked it, turned me, pushed me on the settee. I said, you're going to be a great actor, son.
Well, you joined Repton from the West Ham Boxing Club and become a leading amateur middleweight before drifting into acting as an extra in the play Johnny Boxer at the Half Moon Theatre. You get the bug and put on plays of your own at your dad's Bridge House pub. Your first film comes in 1981 with Victor Victoria. On television, you land a role in Tucker's Luck, and you have an early run-in with the star of the series.
Now then, you two boys going to spend any dough? Except you're not taking one.
Yeah, well, see you later on then, Tommy.
Well, he was Tucker there, and now he's known to millions as Mark Fowler of EastEnders. Todd Carty.
Oh, excuse me, What are you going to say?
What? Yeah? All right.
That's acceptable, is it? Right, so I was going to say, this is a bit like an East End set, isn't it? Really?
Indeed it is, me old China, yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, me and Glen, we had a really good laugh, you know, doing Tucker's Luck, and it's really great to see him go on and do his own thing, and London's burning and that kind of thing. And we meet each other at West Ham, you know, Saturdays, Wednesdays, whenever we can. I'll see you for a drink after, yeah? Go on, Glen.
Thank you, Todd Carty. Right, then, while building your career, you were also busy starting a family. Now, Linda, you and Glen met on Valentine's Day 1970 when he was a disco DJ, and he had a rather romantic idea for your wedding. 4 years later, a popular Civic Hall, right?
That's right. We wanted to get married on Valentine's Day, but because Glen's mum and dad had a pub at the time, and Valentine's Day fell on a Saturday, we had to get married in the middle of the week, and I've never forgiven his dad for that.
Did you use the pub for the reception?
We did.
Well, that's nice. Well, it's hardly typecasting when you get a part in The Other Half in 1980. You're booked to play a West Countryman.
War, me dear. Well, you had me fooled with the accent anyway.
The actress who starred in that series, Lorraine Chase. So were you impressed then, Lorraine?
Oh, yeah, well, it was easy peasy lemon squeezy, weren't it, a doddle? In fact, a little birdie told me that they copped in teaching Bill Treacher a thing or two about the accent. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
There you go. And I mean, listen, the proof of the pudding's in the eating, isn't it? You're in one of the best shows on telly at the moment. It's gone from strength to strength. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. And I hope it keeps going. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you, Lorraine. Goodbye. Well, you get to play a lot of heavies, which means somebody has got to be on the receiving end. One actor has taken more stick from you than most.
We're more like kicking cousins than kissing cousins. Now, what you need, Glenn, is a good minder.
Now, he is Arthur Daly's minder, actor Gary Webster, with your cousin Tom, the son of former British lightweight champion Joe Lucy. So, Tom, this is a nice, tender relationship, is it?
Oh, wonderful. Every time we work together, we end up fighting. I'm always allowed to choreograph the fights, but I'm never allowed to win one. But my turn will come next, so be careful.
No, you should be so careful,
Be careful. We got there.
Gary, you were in Empire State together,
right.
weren't you? Did
Yeah.
you land one on him?
No, I think I've got more sense than that. I think Glenn would have hit me back quite hard. But after all of that, I mean, seriously, underneath it all, I know Glenn does a lot of work with charity and a lot of the charity football games, and I know he plays a lot of hard man parts and he's a lot of tough roles. Underneath it all, he's got a heart of gold, and I know that for sure. And well done.
Thank you, Gary Webster. Tom Lucy. Now, the film Tank Malling was a Murphy-made production with your dad as executive producer and you in the starring role.
Now then, I need some information. And who better to come to than the ears, the eyes, and the mouths of Soa? You. What do you want with me? Helen So. Do you remember her? Sure you do. Friend of Monica, one of your girls. Who? Monique.
Just at the very end there, we saw one of Britain's boxing greats.
Next time, do you think it's possible for me to have a line?
Well, he was world light heavyweight champion John Conte. So, John, what was your complaint was they didn't give you anything to say?
Well, not a word. The character I played had his tongue cut out. But anyway, I can get my own back tonight because I can tell everybody that Glen would never have made it as a professional boxer. Look at the way he reacts to the bell when it rings in London's Burning. He runs for a bucket and an extinguisher. Seriously though, folks, he's a great mate. And I just wish he'd give me a few more lines next time.
Excellent. Thank you, John Conte. Now, that film was the first all-Murphy production, and you've already been to Hollywood to see if you could drum up business for further projects.
Hey, you in the tight jeans, you should be in movies. We should all be in movies.
Fellow member of West Ham Boxing Club, the star of Get Back, Ray Winston, and actor Craig Fairbrass. Now, Craig, you are just back from Hollywood, aren't you?
Yeah, I was out there working on a film with Sylvester Stallone, Cliffhanger, and Glenn came out to Hollywood for Freddie Mills and that.
Cricklewood?
No. I thought he was, yeah. And they looked at Glenn. He's done me again, hasn't he? He's done me again.
I've got makeup in the jacket.
Oh, dear. And Glenn came out to Hollywood and all the agents were like swooning around him and said, this guy, you know what I mean, he's got so much presence, he looks like an Italian gangster. So I just know he's got a great future, and he is the most genuine guy I've ever met, and I love him.
Love you, babe.
Ray, it's your turn for makeup on the collar.
Well, I don't know whether I can follow that, but I'd just like to say one of my favourite parts you ever played was in Doctor Who, and it was Dib of the Space Pirate. No, Dib of the Space Pirate.
I know that.
And I think you changed into Bonnie Langford. And all I wanted to say is I'd just like to know who the makeup artist is, because perhaps he can if he can turn you into Bonnie Langford, perhaps he can turn me into Mel Gibson.
Thank you very much. Ray Winston and Craig Fairbrother. Now, about 18 months ago, your career was under a cloud because of a recurring back problem from an old sporting injury. At one stage, it looked as if you were going to have to be written out of London's Burning, but you were saved by the skill of physiotherapist Kevin Lidlow. But it was bad enough to put you in a wheelchair, wasn't it? It was really bad.
It was... No one would have survived but me. The S is under there.
Well, before you became part of the Blue Watch team, you were the sidekick of an intergalactic conman in Doctor Who in 1986.
But that woman we saw earlier.
I can't understand it, Dibber. They're savages.
Well, don't let it get you down.
What went wrong? That old hag took our guns away from us just like that. How can we be their prisoners?
I told you it was risky coming here.
Yes, well, now you know what I mean about competition. It gets you nowhere.
I told you we should have blasted them, Mr. Glitz.
Yes, Dibber, you've made your point.
Well... That was very interesting, and the actor there was glad to have you on his side.
I thought you were a knockout in the part, Glen.
And you have become good friends since then. It's Tony Selby. You had a good time working together?
Yeah, I mean, his reputation came before him. I mean, I knew that he could punch, and I knew that he played football, and the producer of the show said, these two guys are real hard-case space pirates. And Glen, in his inimitable, quiet, physical way, said, well, Tone, how are we going to approach this? I said, well, I don't like all that spanking, Glen. You do the physicals, I'll do the dicky birds.
Dicky birds, that's where it comes from.
Words, dicky birds. And, well, there you are. I mean, he's gone on and on and on, and he's done the boxing, he's kicked the ball around, and now you're an established actor. More power to your elbow, son.
Thank you, Tony Selby. Glenn, the great gathering of the Murphys is not quite complete. Here are the two latest recruits to the Blue Watch team, your 6-year-old daughter, Natalia, and 3-year-old son, Emilio.
There's my minute. You don't like firemen? I was the same when I first put a yellow helmet on. It's all right, it gets better after 6 years, Emilio.
Well, finally, let me take you back more than 26 years to the day when, like thousands of young boys around the country, you found an instant hero, the man who scored an historic hat-trick for England at Wembley in July 1966.
Seconds ticking away as Martin Peters goes for. Jeff Hurst goes forward. He might make it 3. He has! He has! And that's it! That's it!
Well, what made that even more significant for you, Glenn, is that your hero came from West Ham, and he is here now, Jeff Hurst.
I'm not worthy!
Jeff, I think you might have met.
We obviously met, where would you expect, at West Ham. When I meet new people and actors, you tend to want to talk about what they do. I'm interested in that, but I couldn't get him off the subject of West Ham. Just wanted to keep talking about it, and about the old days and the current team. And but what really impressed me about you, it hasn't gone to your head. You're still the same fella as you were when you were born. and I think that's marvellous. And I'm sure, because of the attitude, you'll have a very long and very successful career, mate.
Well, I won't say West Ham anymore. I'll just say, Glen Murphy, this is your life.